I almost didn't make this video, guys, because this video seemed like it was a very quick answer. Like, this would have been something that I would only spend maybe 15 minutes on, and I wanted to bring you guys something. I always want to bring you guys something that has a little bit more depth to it. So the first time that this meme went around the community, I commented on it, I reposted it. That was basically it. The reaction from you guys, the fandom, was exactly what I was originally thinking on face value. And now the meme has gone viral again, going around the community again. And this time, after looking at it, I am a little bit less sure that what my original thoughts were on exactly the outcome of this meme would actually be correct. Because now I'm thinking that there's no way that it is. So enough BSing, this is the meme that I'm talking about, and I want your opinion in the comment section below, guys. Just let me know what you think. What do you think about this? How far does Yamcha get? And we are talking about all the avatars. The Avatar State avatars, every single one at their peak. How far is our boy Yamcha getting through the strongest warriors in the Avatar series? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because in today's video I am going to go against the grain a little bit here and tell you that Yamcha really doesn't get far. And it pains me to say this with utmost pain because I do love my boy Yamcha, but it is honestly really interesting putting these characters, these Dragon Ball gods, that's all of them. Every Z fighter, Dragon Ball God. You know, they are just so powerful with the power to destroy planets on their fingertips. It's fun to like put them in situations against the strongest from other fandoms and see how they fare. But again, after digging deep into this, I don't think Yamcha, at least Yamcha specifically, he doesn't get far through all the Avatar states. And this is the reason why. First, let's start with Yamcha, because Yamcha is pretty cut and dry. He is essentially one of the Dragon Ball Z gods that I'm telling you. And I'm not saying Dragon Ball Z god like he's got some god key or something, no. I'm saying Dragon Ball Z god as in their strength is just so powerful that against anybody from any other fandom, they're essentially kind of godlike. And so he has access to flight, he's got access to ki blast, he can sense ki, he has the Wolfang fist, he has the Kamehameha, different variations of the Kamehameha, which are world enders just right there, like that would stop the fight. He's got Spirit Ball, not to mention that he was trained by Master Roshi as well as being a bandit, so he is hardened as a warrior and has faced Avenger level threats all over Earth throughout the series of Dragon Ball. Like, this guy is some serious business. So why do I say that he cannot get through all the avatars from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Avatar State avatars, all those? Why is he going to have a hard time getting through all of them, and how far can he actually get? Well, to answer this question, first we need to know how many avatars there actually are, and this is where it gets tricky, but yeah, the series actually doesn't tell us the exact numbers of avatars that there are in history. But going from the first Avatar, Avatar 1, which happened 10,000 years prior to Avatar Korra's time, I would say there are a couple thousand, at least 1,000 or more avatars throughout those years. But in the animation and in the comics, we really only get like 10 of them named, and even less so with some of them, no story at all. So it's hard to say specifically like a specific number as to how many people Yamcha can get through, basically. But I really wanted to know the actual number, and the number, again, it has to be in the thousands at least for how many avatars there have been, including like early deaths and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking when it comes to the amount of avatars there are, and that is a bunch of different avatars, all with all 4 elements mastered, and also the Avatar State. Hey, we're in the middle of the video. Wanted to thank you for making it this far. Here is a cookie. Every video gonna have something different to reward you, but this is a cookie. Thank you so much. Next, we need like an actual realistic way that they're interacting with each other, and it has to be lore accurate or else it doesn't make any sense. So the only thing I can think of lore accurate wise with all the avatars being there is the spirit realm. The spirit realm can host the avatars. They can all be there and say they're all training or something, whatever the case. It could be a really cool arc. Honestly, sounds like an awesome arc in some sort of Avatar spinoff, but they're all there. Yamcha shows up. Now Yamcha, a lot of you guys have said and will say in this video, with one flick of his finger, he will destroy the entire planet. Absolutely true. Not Yamcha's character whatsoever. We, from what I remember, have never seen him do something like that because he is a good guy and he's not going around destroying planets. And on top of that, he also realistically has given up on fighting several times over. So he is not always in his prime, at least not after the early Dragon Ball Z. So he would probably go there to train, meaning that he would face off against all the avatars, not to kill any of them, because he wouldn't be able to anyway, because they are in the spirit realm, but they would not kill him because he's just there to train and they're not bad guys. You get what I'm saying? This is the only realistic way that this is going to happen, and how Yamcha would fare against all these avatars all at once. And there goes my last thing that I was thinking about, all at once or one at a time. How is this going down? I personally believe that Yamcha versus all the avatars one at a time, he may get tired at some point, but he would completely defeat every single avatar like throughout in that kind of process. He would just be KOing them here and there because he is extremely strong and durable, and no other avatar is going to be the same level of strength, even close to it, that he is. So in that aspect, yeah, one avatar versus him in a row, I think his biggest enemy would be he'd eventually get tired. And then, you know, that would be an issue for him. He would get tired and then he'd be wore out, because if there are thousands of avatars with all these abilities going after him, eventually he will get tired. And he's only an earthling, so he's not like someone that has a bunch of stamina. I think he would give up. I think he would be able to, facing all of them like this, one at a time, I think that he will be probably able to get through maybe, and this is being conservative, maybe 150 avatars in a row. A long day, maybe 2 days, maybe one whole day, and then going into the night, and then the next day. And then he would wear out where he would need to stop. And that's where he would get, and that's how far he would get through the avatars, by defeating them. He would defeat all of them, obviously, in this way. But yeah, he would be tired. His stamina would be completely dry. And so he would need to stop. So there is a realistic number of how far he actually gets because of his stamina and his limitations, the fact he doesn't train that often, all that stuff, right? Now, but the second option, which is a lot more fun, is if all the avatars attack them at the exact same time. And in that way, in that method, I feel like Yamcha would get cooked. Would absolutely get cooked. I think he could defeat a very similar, maybe close to 100 wave of avatars throughout, you know, just by fighting and blasting them and trying to get them. Remember, some of these guys are going to be really fast too, and he's got to fight all of them. That's 1,000 or so more avatars, all attacking him at the exact same time. And if you think that he cannot get hurt from certain avatar attacks, you are mistaken. Each one of the elemental attacks will do some damage to Yamcha, 110%. I am putting my foot down on that. Each one has a way to hurt him. Exhibit A is Earth. Earth bending is basically just throwing rocks at him. I mean, you could throw in metal bending if you want, but they're all avatars, and we don't see avatars doing any of the mixed ones, the remixed ones. So he probably, whoever's doing the earth bending would just do earth. And ultimately, I mean, basically just throwing rocks at him. And you may think that Yamcha can tank that, and he possibly could tank a lot of it. The issue is that it's gonna hurt. And that is why when, you know, even in Dragon Ball, when someone gets thrown through a mountain, they come out all beaten up looking because they're hurt, because the rocks hurt. So I think that the rocks would hurt. I'm not saying they're going to KO him, but I do think that they would definitely hurt and wear Yamcha down. Water is probably one of the most dangerous things to Yamcha. Now, I don't think that ice is going to do much. Even if you do ice daggers, I don't think that it is going to be something that's going to kill him, but or even mortally wound him, but I do think that he is vulnerable to scratches and cuts because he's got these two. These scars mean that he is basically vulnerable to some sort of attack by something sharp. And more than likely, these scars that I've never explained, these scars were caused by blades. So he is definitely vulnerable, especially when he puts his guard down, to knives and anything sharp. So he can definitely get cut up on the surface. I'm not saying anything mortally wounded, but definitely cut up on the surface. So that would be one way that ice would hurt him. Water, it would be the obvious. Just put him in a water prison. Put him underwater. Take away his breathing. If Yamcha cannot breathe, he will die. He will pass out. He is an earthling. If he cannot breathe in space or he isn't a god, he will lose all oxygen. And basically what would happen to him is what would happen to anybody else that would lose oxygen. He needs that oxygen. Then Exhibit C, fire. I think that fire would probably be the most one that is kind of hit or miss, similar to, you know, how it was portrayed in Fortnite. Yeah, it's hit or miss. It's not something that is going to be really deal breaker, but I think it could be used strategically to corral him or whatever, you know, to basically pin him down or something like that. Burn his clothes, maybe do a little bit of burns here and there. I don't think he'll get third-degree burns, but definitely he'll feel it. But it's not something that's going to be a game changer for any of the avatars at all. I think that's probably their weakest resort is fire. But that is followed with Exhibit D, their strongest resort, and that is air. Air, if used correctly, would suck out all the air out of his lungs and suffocate him. That would be the cheap way to do it, but having hundreds of avatars do it at the exact same time against someone so powerful, or even take the air out of the immediate 100-mile radius, he's cooked. He's absolutely deep-fried cooked. He would be done. That'd be the end of him. And so that is probably the attack that's going to be doing the most amount of damage, and that is why I feel like if all of them attacked him at the exact same time, he would be maybe defeating 50 to 80 of the avatars. You know, depending on who they are, he would be defeating around that number, and then he'd lose. I think he would lose right after that, because I'm not even throwing in the avatar state yet. The avatar state amplifies all of these abilities, making them 10 times stronger, 10 times more lethal. And that would mean that the rocks that were hurting him before would be hurting him 10 times more. The water and the ice, same way. Fire would probably maybe burn his hair a little bit more, you know, be a little more impactful. But air would be, they could have him in a complete air prison, and yeah, he'd be done. He would be KO'd. That would be it for Yamcha. And so ultimately, I mean, it's a meme picture and it's an interesting what if, but at the end of the day, I do think that Yamcha as an earthling has limitations, and if he was going one against one, I think he could defeat all these different tricks and tips one on one. I think he could definitely defeat, if he was facing Aang, he could defeat him relatively easily, and then he could just keep going, not even getting to the point where he's going to be vulnerable to any of the attacks one-on-one, because he's so fast and he's so strong. And so that's why I think that just getting tired and kind of wringing himself out, just, you know, being like, okay, I'm out of this. I think his is probably 150 avatars, maybe 200 on a good day, if you're talking top tier Yamcha. But if they all attack him at once, I'm even lowering it. I think he takes down 50 and then he's done. He loses. If every single avatar attacks him at the exact same time, he loses that fight. Short of destroying the planet, he loses that fight. 110%, guys. Don't overestimate Yamcha because he's a Dragon Ball character. Trust me, it would be the same exact outcome for Krillin, Tien, Master Roshi, any of the Earthlings or any of the weaker Dragon Ball characters, exact same outcome. But that's my take on it. I want to hear your take, and if you have any other interesting video ideas of you know, our fandom interacting with other fandoms, or even vice versa or whatever, let me know in the comment section below. This is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.